Hello everyone. So, last month and for the rest of the season, I finally had enough time to start grinding the dreaded horror that is solo rank. Something I haven't done in years. I've never gone for a high power before because X rank was barely a thing back when I grinded solo for the first time, and I was excited to get back into it. I still haven't played as many rotations as I wanted. I've still only done it on zones, but I've gotten to like 2850s so far. It's been pretty fun. And honestly, it's been a really eye-opening experience. So I want to talk about the main session where I had a bit of an eye-opener moment. So I was originally grinding zones with Neo Stamper. I thought Neo Stamper was the best thing to use to grind for it. That's what I wanted to play, and it was new when it came out, and I figured I could learn the kit faster this way, get good at crab, all of that. And I had a rotation where I was doing really well. I was getting like 3 golds pretty much every game. I had like double or triple kills to deaths. I had a lot of pain, a lot of specials, like pretty much every game. I felt like I was playing really well. Like, I looked at the KDs, I played the games, and I'm like, damn, I feel like I'm doing good. The game said, no, actually, you're shit, and you lose 100 points. And I think this is a moment where, like, 90% of people understandably go, solo queue fucking sucks, I hate this game, and I'm not playing it. Right, like, that's understandable. I was like, okay, well, oh, by the way, this is a different rotation, but also happens to have Bluefin, very funny. I was like, alright, well, this is not good, but just for the hell of it, I haven't tried Range Blaster yet in solo queue. Why don't I play it for this rotation just to see how it goes? And there's like plus 100 again. And it's back the other direction with the 9-1. This is the same rotation. And look, we could all sit here and pretend like, oh, you just got really lucky or something. No. Let's be serious here. There was clearly a difference between me picking this and me picking this and winning. And it's not, oh my god, range is so much better in zones than Neosword. They're relatively in a very similar spot. It's, okay, I'm clearly doing things that are resulting in my team winning when I pick this gun that I am not doing when I pick the sword. That is the harsh reality check of solo queue that I have learned. This is what I posted about. I'm like, I think it's really good to learn if you're doing something wrong because you could just use the metric of if you're winning most of your games. If you're not, you're probably not doing something right. It doesn't matter how good it looks. And I'm not trying to deny that solo is hell. Like, just for reference, to sympathize with all the solo haters right now, here's a rotation where I lost 100 points because I had X-Rank lag glitch, which is basically where one person or 2 people would be, like, very laggy in the same way, and it would happen over and over, and I was too stubborn to turn off the game. Turn off the game. These are all matches one after the other with different people in them. This is not them lagging, this is something to do with the game. I still don't know why this happens, right? I've had a Hydra who, like, sits still on left side of Humpback and we lose the game because they never feel like moving forward. I had, like, zones cheese and really annoying moments. Like, we've all been there, There's always been Garbo moments in solo queue. But the truth of the matter is, okay, this was one time I lost a lot of points, and then most games are, like, one really crappy game. And that's it. So I started to take this solo logic that I was doing in X rank, because obviously this wasn't just one rotation. I played other rotations, and I started switching between the weapons more, and noticed I did better with sword. So the next step is I went into Sendu Inc. And I've been grinding Sendu Inc. a little bit as well, been getting a decent amount of games in. And I've been trying to play Sendu Inc. with a lot of different people, because I think the ranking system for Sendu Inc. is most accurate when it's closer to solo. So I've been trying to queue with people who are similar ranked to me, and I've been trying to play with a lot of different groups. Obviously, I play with people who are on my team or people I know a little bit more, but I've been trying to, like, vary it up, not just play with the same people, like, 10, 15 times in a row. And once again, the same pattern emerged. I usually started with Stamper a lot of the time, and if I started to lose, I switched to Range and see if it worked. And more often than not, the win rate was higher with Range. The majority of these Stamper games, because I've reported every single time I've played Sendu Q, the majority of these Stamper games are the first part of the season, and then the second part I started switching to Range. And as a consistent pattern, when I've been picking Range, I've been winning more. That's just the pattern. Now, Sendu Inc. is not solo queue, and Sendu Inc. is a lot easier to manipulate. You can play with a group you're more comfortable with, you can queue with any rank you want. It's a lot easier to mess with it, but I tried to play it as straight as possible. I tried to play with varied groups and all of that to get it closer to regular solo queue intentionally to see what I could win with. And at the end of the day, that is what I would win with. And I think that all of this is very telling. And I want to talk about it because I think it relates to comp as a whole. I talked about picking up S-Blast and Sword and my thoughts on it and stuff, and I talked about how I don't think I'm even, like, going to reach my potential with Sword. I don't know if I'm going to be good enough with it. I want to talk about something real quick. Competitive play is gambles, and most of them you lose. What weapons you play, you're going to try a lot of different weapons. Most of you who have grinded comp for a bit have probably tried multiple different playstyles. You've done multiple different teams. You've done multiple different comps. All of that shit. You try a lot of stuff when it comes to competitive, and 95% of that doesn't work. Sword, for me, is something I felt was very similar to Brella. It was a safe top 5 meta pick that I, like, gravitated toward earlier than most players. Brella worked out for me for a few years, and Stamper, looking back on it, has worked out for a few months. And, you know, that can be really, like, hard for some people to deal with. Like, for me, I put almost 4 million into Sword, you know? It's a ton of time that I put into the weapon. And here I am basically going, yeah, I don't think, you know, the supportive kit isn't the better one. The better one is this one. It's a playstyle that I'm not fitting as well, and I'm clearly doing better on other weapons that are also really good right now. So why am I putting as much time into Sword, and should I do it? And, you know, I haven't fully answered that question, but right now I'm gravitating to only pick this one on a few of the maps where I do consistently well with it, like Mahi Zones, for instance, and for the most part just become a blaster player, like, only, again, especially because, hey, you've done this for 7 years, it's probably going to keep working for a while. So, you know, I could be upset about a lot of things, like S-Blast as well, you know, I put a lot of time into that, but at the end of the day, like, that's just how competitive is. You're gonna try stuff, a lot of it isn't gonna work out, and, I think it's important to reevaluate things and be able to change it. Like, it's very easy to get set in with, I played Stamper for like a year, I have 4 million into the weapon, I don't want it all to go to waste. But, like, truth of the matter is, maybe this weapon isn't worth more of my time, and it's better I start immediately relocating my time into something that's actually going to be working for me more. Something where I play it in my scrims or my Sendikyu or my solo queue, and it starts going better. You know, and that's okay. And of course, this is the same thing for opinions for anyone who hasn't gone there yet. My YouTube channel, including rambles like this, exists because I am not afraid to say how I'm thinking, and then if I change it, I am not afraid to go and change how I'm thinking and talk about it. Which is why I don't really like people who solely parrot my opinions, especially if they're like a few months old, they're usually outdated. Everyone is going to have different opinions on things, and I think that's part of why I learned so much about the game, is I've been very, okay, I think this, this, and this, and then sometimes people argue with me, or sometimes those opinions get challenged and I change it, and I think that's part of why I've grown a good understanding of the game. I think a lot of people are afraid to go, I think this, this, and this, and then get challenged on it and then think about it. And solo queue this month was an example of that, but in-game, where I got really challenged on, okay, are you absolutely sure Sword is the weapon for you? Are you absolutely sure this fits you? Because you're watching other really good Sword players like Volti or Leafy or Zera play the weapon and do consistently better, and it feels like they play in a way that you don't gravitate toward, and then you play solo and you're losing your games, and you play Sendikyu and you're losing your games compared to range. Maybe you should just switch weapons. That has been the lesson of this month. And it's really harsh and it's really weird. And I don't know how much it's going to relate to other people, because obviously I play the game a lot more than most other people, so maybe it's different, but at the end of the day, my point is, solo queue gave me a good perspective that I was able to carry into other forms of competitive with Sendikyu scrims, etc., and come out of it feeling like I have learned something I wouldn't have learned otherwise. And that came from not getting tilted at solo, accepting the ability of wins to be in my own control, and being willing to change something I have spent a lot of time on. And that's totally okay. More of a hyper-competitive lesson. Obviously, if you play for fun and stuff, it's different, but I wanted to put this out there because I know there's going to be more competitive players grinding solo right now since the system has been changed. And I know there's people who have been having more weapon crises lately because that's just how this meta is. And the scene's been developing faster, which has to be its own main channel video in a bit, hopefully, but that is the perspective I wanted to put out, where for me, I have that same thing right now, where I'm getting challenged on what I've been putting into the game, and at the end of the day, it's time to pick what's actually going to work, and it's nice to have more indicators of what's going to work so I can make those decisions more effectively and use my time better. Thanks for watching.